right, I'd like to call the meeting of February 5th, Wednesday, February 5th, City Council meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Strobush?
Yes.
Raymond Schneider?
Yes.
Van Blaricon?
Yes.
Isaacson?
Yes.
Vicker? Flannum? Yes. Leonard?
Yes.
Okay, start off the meeting. We're going to have a public comment period here. Although the public may speak on any item that is not included on this agenda as a public hearing or forum, the council may not respond or discuss the issue brought forward at this time. In accordance with open meeting laws, the council may not respond or discuss the issue brought forward at this time. In accordance with open meeting laws, the council must notice an item on the agenda to allow discussion on the matter. Your comments will be considered and may be placed on a future agenda for future discussion. So I would like to limit the discussion to 2 minutes each. It will be at the podium. Come on up, state your name, and state your public comment, please.
My name is Ashley Long. The public, as well as library staff and the 5 other community organizations that currently reside in the Amery area public library portion of the West Campus, were notified of the City Council and Mayor's plan to purchase the Bremer Bank building and move the library, police station, and City Hall into the City Center building through an article in the Amery Free Press, January 16th. Since the press release is the only information the public, library, and community organizations have, we are left with many unanswered questions and discrepancies. What are these unforeseen circumstances? Did these unforeseen circumstances have anything to do with retaining businesses in Amery? Was the purchase of the Bremer building conditional on Bremer staying in Amery and building a new bank? Could the City Council demonstrate through exact figures how the cost of the library's portion of the West Campus became beyond our means, and when, and how these costs compare to the Bremer Bank City Center project? Is it correct that in 2019, the city appropriation to the library was $200,000, and that $200,000 appropriation is only 4% of the city's 2019 budget? To be correct and accurate, the city does not pay any condo or utility fees on the library's behalf. The library is given an appropriation by the city, and the library pays the condo fees and utilities. So why is it unaffordable for the city? Isn't that determined by the library board in their budget? The HVAC needing an upgrade by the hospital has been discussed in many meetings with differing information. What is the cost of the HVAC project? Does the library HVAC need to be upgraded since there are multiple RTUs? How many estimates were submitted and reviewed? Did the entire City Council have access to the exact cost of the HVAC project prior to voting to purchase the Bremer building and deciding to relocate the Amery area public library without public input, community collaboration, and a clear design and budget for the new city center? Was it the library's responsibility financially, since the library pays the condo fees, and why was the library not given an opportunity to budget their responsibility for the HVAC costs? The Amery Area Library and West Campus space was purchased in 2008 for $995,000. The current appraised value, the appraisal on August 28th, states that the appraised value is $600,000. What did the city sell the Amery Area Public Library and Amery Police Station to Amery Hospital and Clinic for? It was stated by a city council member in the January 28th meeting that it was in the neighborhood of $450,000. Did the City Council consider putting the building on the market to other buyers? So to summarize, the city sold the current Amery Area Public Library and Amery Police Station for an appraised value of $150,000 loss. The city also took a $995,000 investment, sold it for in the neighborhood of $450,000, and purchased a $350,000 building that will need at least $1 million, if not more, to become a grand city center in the next 5 to 10 years at the cost of the library, taxpayers, and generous community organizations to manage things that were beyond our means, that are actually managed and budgeted by the library, without letting the library decide if the unforeseen circumstances were in fact beyond the library's means? And why was this all done in closed session? I have copies of our questions, so hopefully in the future they could be answered and addressed.
Thank you, Ashley. We let her go 3.5 minutes because of her position, so thank you. I will limit other comments to 2 minutes, so, next.
Thank you.
Kay Erickson, and I just have one question. Was the planning commission involved in any of this process? And if they weren't, why not? I mean, we've got a planning commission, and I don't believe there was a committee meeting to get any input from them.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Chad, would you mind holding this?
Yeah.
I don't mean to cover up Chad, but I'm here tonight to talk about something I'm very excited about. I know I'm limited to 2 minutes, so I'm going to read to you, but I will be here after the meeting to talk to you about any of you about this opportunity. My name is Debbie Christofferson, and tonight I'm here on behalf of a group of volunteers coordinating events called Design Amery. I'm asking you to take out your calendars today and mark April 3rd and 4th on your calendar. It's a Friday and Saturday night. As we would like to invite anyone who lives or loves Amery to a creative brainstorming session about our future. Whether Amery is your home or away from home, or where you work, play, or do business, we would like you to have a seat at the table. We want to know your input and your vision for our community. We are inviting 20 out-of-town designers to stay with families in Amery and tour our city. These professionals include city planners, architects, landscape architects, designers, and other artists. On Friday night at 6 p.m., they'll join all of us. That is our whole community. All of you are invited for a dinner. Together, we'll brainstorm who we are, what makes us unique, and what is our legacy. There'll be paper on the walls for us to write down our ideas and creatively draw out things. The following day, the designers gather all day to work on drawings and plans with our collective input. This is a creative process known as the charrette process. It's an intense session of planning where we emerge with a creative collaborative plans. On Saturday, we're all invited to meet again and gather to see how our ideas have been translated visually by each of the 20 visiting professionals. They present large-scale drawings and talk to the community. These hand-drawing illustrations incorporate all of our best thinking, planning, and dreaming about our community's future. These illustrations will serve as a starting point for future community planning and development initiatives. In other communities around the state, this process has inspired economic, social, beautification, and recreational projects that enhance communities and spark economic growth. We hope to see you there. Again, it's April 3rd and 4th, Friday and Saturday night. The Friday dinner is free. There's childcare, and then bring your pencils, but we'll have more there. And again, Saturday night, come back and see all the creative designs presented visually. Thank you.
Where is it?
It's going to be at the high school. Good question, thank you. It'll be at the high school on Friday night, and we're planning the elementary school on Saturday night. We have to confirm those, but likely it'll be at the school grounds. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you, Debbie. Any more public comment? Sean?
Members of the City Council, my name is Sean Derfler. I'm the Superintendent of the School District of Amery. First of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak here this evening. Your service to the Amery community is very much appreciated. Public service as an elected official is a thankless line of work. We're all here this evening because we care about the future of the Amery Public Library, whatever that future may be. The library has been a mainstay in the landscape of Amery life for decades. I, like all of you, have made the library a part of my children's upbringing. Saturday trips to the Amery Library are a fixture for my 3 children, as well as my wife and I. I'm not here to tell you, the City Council, what to do regarding the future of the library. That's not my message, nor is my place to do so. Further, I'm not here to tell any of you that your feelings, your frustrations, or your anger about the proposed future of the library are unfounded. I appreciate your impassioned sentiments about our library. It would be far worse if you didn't care at all. I'm simply here to implore all of you to think about the importance of having an open, honest, and respectful dialogue about how to proceed with this very important decision. Let's find a way whereby the community of Amery can support the city council to make this tough decision in a manner which is in the best interests of our kids. The city council needs the opportunity to make this decision in an organized and thoughtful way, and the public needs the chance to make known their concerns about the future of the library. Know this, nothing will be gained by making a hurried decision. I encourage the city to slow down. Please take a moment to ease the pace of this process for the sake of building a better understanding for all members of the Amery community. Do so as a means to build consensus around whatever decision is made. Those gathered here this evening and those who are not here but who are just as concerned as all of you, give our elected officials the chance to do what they feel is right. Do so without angrily asked questions, veiled attacks, or aggressive dispositions, which do little but create animosity and resentment. We must slow down and settle down. If we don't, the only group which will lose will not be the city council, it will not be any of you, it will be our kids. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sandy Wright Olson, and I'm out of my comfort zone here. But I feel it's important to let the council and everyone know how the senior citizens feel. I've been a resident of Golden Age for a year and now reside in Evergreen Village. And I don't know if you realize that as folks age and retire, they use libraries even more than ever because we've got more time. And it's kind of a social place. And computers are there. You can even rent out cake pans and not just books. So we really love the convenient location of the Amery area's award-winning and conveniently laid out one-story handicapped accessible full-service library right where it is. Excuse me. And the residents of these two senior homes are in a very unique situation. I don't know how many of you know that there's a unique lighted above-ground tunnel that was built to connect Golden Age Nursing Home, which is a 114-bed facility, to the hospital and medical center. And later, when Evergreen Village, a 40-unit apartment complex was built in that same block, the tunnel was built from there to Golden Age so that both have easy access to the good, healthy indoor exercise of walking or wheeling over to the friendly, enjoyable, busy library, and it's so much more. And I wonder how many of you use the library regularly or have been there lately. And did any of you go to last Saturday's Love Your Library Day? It was extremely busy there. The parking lot was so full that I don't think Pizzeria would have been happy having that much traffic at
Okay.
noontime.
We're at 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Sandy. Okay. No more public comment, then let's move on with the rest of the agenda here. Communications. I believe that is going to be,
It's in your packet.
okay.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's actually was approved last meeting, so it's in OneDrive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from that, I should say the Keller Avenue right-of-way acquisitions are underway now it has been approved to move forward. There's, for the new sidewalks still going in, I believe, the city can't put it on private or the state can't put it on private property, or however that works, so we have to acquire 2 feet here, 3 feet here, 8 feet here from members. It has to go through a federal process, so it's a fair and balanced for everybody. So any businesses downtown and along this 8-block area will be contacted by the respective companies that we have hired to take care of this. Did I say that right, Dave? Okay. All right. Officer reports, let's see, Patty?
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Tax season started mid-December with taxes for real property and personal property. Taxes were collected here in the city until January 31st, 2020. After that date, the remainder of second half taxes needs to be paid to the Polk County Treasurer. The deadline to pay any second half taxes to them is July 31st, 2020. There will be a February 18th, 2020 primary election for a replacement to fill the vacancy on the ballot left by outgoing Congressman Sean Duffy of District 7, as well as a contest for Supreme Court Justice. Polls open at 7 a.m. here at the City Hall, and the polls close at 8 p.m. I will be holding electronic tabulation of the voting machines on February 10th at 1 o'clock. The public is welcome to observe. I, along with staff and Public Works, had a meeting with the Wisconsin DOT regarding the State Highway 46 project. There will be a public meeting in Deer Park giving an overview of the project when construction begins in 2022. Deer Park is part of the scope to be done consecutively with the City of Amery. SEH has been working closely with the City of Amery to create an industrial development park. The project has been budgeted for and will continue to be budgeted for. Progress is being made on surveying of the site, as well as obtaining highway and access permits through the DOT. Ultimately, the location will include paving and curb and gutter. For the time being, the site will have access for interested companies to view and potentially purchase sites for future development of their industries. MSA has been working on the State Highway 46 Keller Avenue project for the City of Amery. That will be done and completed in 2021. acquisition, like Mayor said, and conveyances of properties are being handled at this time. On January 29th, I, along with management analyst Ben Jansen, attended a planning meeting for a future fire commission or fire committee. The committee is formed with two representatives from the town of Blackbrook, two representatives from the town of Amery, town of Lincoln, two representatives, one representative from the town of Blackbrook, and one representative from the town of Alden. The scope is to form a fire commission or fire committee and do an agreement that everyone follows to make decisions on budgeting, et cetera, for the fire department. I've been attending Design Amery meetings, which Debbie talked about. The meetings are in preparation, like she mentioned, for the Design Amery weekend visit, April 2nd through the 4th. And I, along with management analyst Ben Jansen, as well as other representatives, have been attending civic web training. We are updating the website and are excited for the new design. Please look for the updates in the near future. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
Yep.
And Ben?
Get through.
Good evening, everybody. Firstly, I finally finished all my WIS vote training, including the Chief Inspector training, so now I can help Patty come the 5 different elections this year. I've been reviewing and rewriting some of the city documents at the request of the mayor. Specifically, I've been looking at the comp plan and the Parks and Rec plan. I'm almost done rewriting the entire comp plan, which needed updating. On January 22nd, Patty and I went to the county for the Parks and Rec meeting at Paul's request to represent the city when they talked about the Star Wars Seven Lakes Trail. I had Dale Rosmos of SEH come in, and him and I found and sorted out our cell tower documents to figure out our various leases with different cell phone carriers and all the documentation and permits with those. At the request of the Parks Committee, I began researching options for the replacement of the North Park bathrooms, and I have some quotes that I can provide for the next meeting of the Parks Committee. Like she mentioned about the website, we had our kickoff meeting with Civic Engage, so we will have that process started and hopefully a nice new website. And then lastly, I registered officially for the Clerks and Treasurers Institute in Green Bay in July. So I'll be attending that and starting my certification process to become a certified municipal clerk.
Thank you. Tom is gone, but his reports are on the table over here. Fire Chief. Dale.
Yeah, it is.
Good evening, council. Good evening, community. I submitted the written report to the council to review. I'll take questions at any time on that if you wish. I just want to report that the DNR has requested a training session with the Amery Fire Department. And that's twofold. I'll be doing a special training for sector chiefs for structural firefighting and wildland situations. Their request came through because of the blowdown area that we had last summer. It's getting to be a concern for them, so they're looking for additional help. So the Amery Fire Department will be, and myself will be participating in that. I also would like the council to know that I am appreciative of my position on the new organizational committee for the fire department. I do attend those meetings for my input. And at this time, I'd like to use the rest of my time to recognize a few firefighters. So Mike, would you come up here, please? Mike Otteson. Okay, Mike Otteson has been a longtime member of the Amery Fire Department. I believe he joined back in 1993 as a firefighter. He worked his way up through the ranks, and he submitted his letter of retirement last month. So I'd like to present this plaque on the behalf of the Amery Fire Department. We recognize Mike Otteson for his 27 years of dedicated volunteerism and commitment to the Amery community. Thank you very much. Presented on February 5th, 2020. Your opportunity if you wish.
It's been an honor being on the fire department for this many years. I never thought I'd make it this far. I want to thank Rick, Dale. I've learned so much from Rick over the years. This department is very good. We joke around, but when it comes time to actually work, we get the work done. We try and save as much as we can. Sometimes take more risks than what we should, but nobody's ever been hurt, nobody's died, and hopefully it stays that way. I just want to thank the city for allowing me to be on the department for this many years. Thank you.
Mike has acted as a second assistant chief for the last several years. He's a firefighter too, EMS certified, so he's one of our first responders as well. So we thank Mike again. The next two that I'd like to call up is Eric Kelly and is Dave Wayu out there? Yeah. There he is, I'm sorry. I left him in the hallway because it was so full. All right. You look good. So, because Mike was, up until he retired, second assistant chief, we went through our election process, our advisory vote, and I've appointed the following people to a new position. Eric Kelly has accepted the position of the second assistant chief. Eric joined back in 1997, and he will be third in command then. And Dave Wayu will be replacing Eric at his captain's job that Eric has had for quite a while. Dave joined in 2009, I'm sorry. They're both first responders. They'll both be attending the Officer 1 class according to our new state laws, and we would like to welcome them to their new positions. Are there any questions about my written report I can help you with before
I didn't have it.
All right, thank you.
Amy?
Well, that's a tough act to follow. Good evening, council members and members of the community. As you know, the library is a very busy place, so I would just like to highlight some of the things we have coming up in the library. So currently we have a winter reading challenge for kids and teens. It's going through February 29th. You can sign up for the winter reading challenge and read to earn a free book, and reading logs are available at the library. We have a drive-in movie No School Day coming up on Monday, February 18th at 10:30 a.m. It's for all ages. You can decorate a cardboard box to look like a car, then park it to watch a movie on our big screen. We'll be watching Cars, the Disney Pixar movie. We'll have popcorn, drinks, and car-making materials will be provided. Registration is required, so you can either drop in at the library or go to our website to register. Story times are every Wednesday until February 26th at 10:30 a.m. We have Art Club for kids on the second Monday of the month for grades 4K through 2. Tween Art Remix on the second Tuesday of the month at 4 p.m. for grades 3 through 5. And registration is required. Again, just go on the library website or stop into the library. We now have family game nights at the Village Pizzeria. You can beat the winter blues and join Aaron and Heather at Village Pizzeria for lots of game and fun. There's 2 more dates left to join, Thursday, February 13th and Thursday, March 12th from 5 to 7 p.m. And it's a chance to enjoy an evening with your friends and family while checking out the library's awesome selection of games. It's a free event and no registration is required. The third Thursday, we have crafting every third Thursday. This month will be decoupage terracotta pots on Thursday, January 6th. Oh no, that one's already gone. Never mind, that's an old one. So sorry about that. We do have a winter reading challenge for adults as well. That one is still going on until March 1st of 2020. So come on again, pick up a bingo card and work your way through it and you can win prizes that way. And last, I would just like to publicly thank the Friends of the Library for putting on the Love Your Library event last Saturday at the library. It was very successful. We had 428 people come through the library that day. So, any questions?
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Bones.
you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen. You weren't sure whether to say Jeff or Bones that time, were you?
I almost said Jeff.
The city crew's been very busy around town trimming trees. Everybody's probably noticed them out there. Hopefully they haven't irritated too many people. I know in the past when we're trimming trees, we get a little grief, but we're trying to keep the visibility around town, and plus the inconvenience of tearing up some of our trucks where the tree branches hang over. Also, you may have noticed that the county's been in town spray patching today. I talked to Mo this afternoon. Didn't realize they could do that during the winter, but he says they're buying a truckload at a time. Because as you know, you and I talked to him about having to buy all of the oil and stuff ahead of time. But apparently they make a winter mix oil. And they'll be finishing up Main Street. And as I said, I talked to him this afternoon, and apparently the turbo's gone out of that brand new truck they have, so it's going back to the factory. So they probably won't be here for a few more days, so that's why they're disappearing, let's say.
Okay.
The street sweeper will be out early in the morning. I got one of the guys coming in to clean up the gravel that's left behind after the spray patching, so that we don't have any complaints or damage to vehicles. Also been pretty busy in the shop with vehicle maintenance. A little dump truck, they totally redid the frame on that so that we can keep the old stuff going. Hopefully we'll get that in the budget here in the future, probably not real soon. I know that we have other things on the wish list for next year. I seen Jeff's got a tally going already, which is a good thing. Hopefully one of my plans for the street budget this year is to upgrade Harriman Avenue as to accommodate the traffic that'll probably come in 2021. So hopefully this year we'll take care of the parts of Harriman that we haven't done in the past. I also got a text from the fella that takes care of Black Brook Dam. His dam has gone down a couple inches. I told him that we haven't done anything. We're in winter mode. I believe it's probably due to the drop in temperature, probably icing. I think we're maintaining. I know I get a lot of phone calls if the river level goes up and down. There's a few people that kind of watch that on the upper side of the dam, and they let me know when there's changes. Other than that, business as usual, everyday chores, lift stations, wells. I got a couple of guys doing their licenses tomorrow. With the new changes that the city council made, licensing's part of the program for the city crew. So we're taking care of that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Bones. Okay, committee reports, no meeting, plan commission, public safety, no meeting, public works, no meeting. Finance and personnel, January 7th, January 28th.
So we had two finance and personnel meetings on January 7th. We discussed the Main Street, or as I call it, Keller Avenue, alleys, and improvements needed in anticipation for the 2021 road improvement. So hopefully we can get the alleys up and make it as limiting inconvenient as possible for that project to occur. We discussed this fee schedule for the city and sent that back to city staff for some more review. We approved the standard developers agreement with Dick's Fresh Market. Chief Marson requested approval to hire a new full-time police officer, which I believe he has done. We had to make a budget amendment for TID number 7 because there was an error made. So we corrected that. And that was it for the 7th. The 28th, we had an open hearing, public comment on the move of the library. We also discussed RFPs for the Bremer Bank inspection We received 4 RFPs. We did not make a recommendation. We forwarded it to this meeting for further discussion and decision. We also discussed the purchase of an asphalt trailer for the Public Works Department to assist in filling potholes. And I believe we will talk about that further down the road. That is all.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Parks and Rec, did you want to say something?
Yes, we
Okay.
do. We met and talked about several things. One of them was the beautification process for the city of Amery. Last year, actually 2 years ago, I guess it was, we were approached with Channel 11 coming out to the city and doing our town or a Main Street visit. And out of that, the city and the community club ended up buying flower pots and various hanging and ground pots. And so last year was the second year that they were put in. And there was some concern among the citizens that we're not very cohesive with the process, that we do some and the community club does some of the businesses do some, and yet we have a good process for watering the plants, but not much after that. As far as deadheading the flowers and picking the flowers out in the spring as to which flowers and so on would look best and nicest. And so we, as a committee, appointed Jessica Dela Cruz to get some interested folks, or at least to start the process. And she just, picked up Joyce Schaefer, Kay Erickson, and Jessica to head up the committee to try to coordinate the downtown beautification process. So there's opportunity for anyone that's interested in being a part of that. I know in past years, sometimes the master gardeners have been involved with that and so on, but this is just not it's an attempt to get everybody on the same page so we can hopefully make the very best of the downtown beautification. So if anybody out there is interested in working with that group or being a part of that or having input on that, I would hope you can contact either City Hall or I think City Hall is probably best, and they'll relay the information then to those 3 volunteers that have wanted to do that. So we appreciate that. And then a budget item that we have had been basically the tear down and redo of the east bathrooms at the North Park. Anybody that's been up there from the women's club and so on knows that they've just really, they weren't good 25 years ago, but they're really not good now. And so, coupled with the campground and camp spaces that we have, and the greater use of the park all the time, we put money in the budget to rebuild that. A year ago we did it first, and 2 years ago, and then we didn't get enough in there, and the project expanded to beyond what we thought it was gonna be, and so we now have a group that is looking at huff cut, pre-cut, or pre-constructed bathrooms. And we will be, if anybody's desperately interested in going to Chippewa Falls to look at bathrooms, we're gonna probably do that one, sometime, not next week, but the week after in February. If you really wanna go along, welcome your input on that. And the goal is to have them available and operational before our real summer camping program starts. So no motions at this time or items for the agenda, but we certainly will have on next month's agenda motion to go to bid, either go to bid or to to purchase that one outright. I'm not sure how that's gonna shake out yet, but that's where we are.
All right, thank you, Rick. Okay, consent agenda items. We'll need a motion to approve the minutes of the meetings listed in your agenda.
I move that we approve the minutes of January 7, 28, Finance and Personnel, Parks and Rec, and January 8th council meeting, and the January 21st special council meeting.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Okay, let's move on to new business. Number 1 on the list, discussion, action, library, police department relocation to the Bremer building.
Is this something that we should combine with item 3 regarding the RFPs?
I think we can go
Or is
ahead
there-
with this one here.
Or do we have anything to discuss about it without the RFP?
I think Chad did, first of all.
Yeah, so I'll read, I guess, the statement or my thoughts anyway. My phone has been ringing off the hook, which is great. I envisioned when I was appointed in August that that will happen, and that's why I'm here, and it's fine. But what I'd like to do is address at least some of the questions or comments that I have heard. Some of them are that we all hate the library, that we're ready to burn the books and throw them out with the bathwater. That we're doing this to help out Bremer. That we're taking away an opportunity from the elderly to go to the library. That we're moving into a space that's moldy and half the size. The parking is terrible. This is all done in secret, and the list goes on and on. Now, the way that I see it, I guess I see 3 groups in this situation. The first group is that group that sees the potential of where we can go. The second group is a group that doesn't know enough yet to make a decision. And the third group is, it doesn't matter what you say, we don't want it to happen. And that's fine, that's how it works in everything. So really we have the ready, the unready, and the unwilling. The question is how do we all get ready to move forward? And the facts that the way that I understand the facts and what has gone into my decision to proceed with where we're headed is that the city council does not hate the library. That I can state for a fact. In fact, one of them is highly involved in the library committee. My family uses the library often. I use the Libby app most often because I drive an hour to work one way, so I love having that connection to digital content. But my wife and my kids use the library quite often. The city is not looking to buy Bremer to help them out. In fact, in discussions, we've asked them that we really want them to stay in town, and for this to happen, for this whole deal to happen, that's really what is in the best interest of the city and for Bremer. The space is in a different area that needs to be explored. So this idea of are we half the size or 3/4 of the size, that from my perspective still needs to be explored further, and we won't really know that detail until we get definitively through the process of the needs assessment and the space assessments. Although the information that I have seen shows that the library and the police and the historical society, which is in the basement, by the way, to total 21,196 feet. And the total space of the Bremer building that I have seen figures for is 24,800 square feet. Now, I know that I went to school in Minnesota, so I could be wrong, but it appears that there is more space at the Bremer, which allows for the inclusion of the city offices. The next, to address the moldy basement. The current lower level of the basement, or Bremer, has windows that allows natural light. To characterize it as a dingy, moldy, dirty basement, I don't think is a good representation of that space. The next thing that I have is the building is not acceptable to go to the lower level for the elderly. While the building does have an elevator, I know the hospital has an elevator, and we can traverse up and down through the hospital to get to visit friends in the hospital, and nearly every hospital has an elevator system. The parking lot at the new location is a bit spread out, and I can see that, and I can understand that there may be concerns with safety, but that's just something that we, I think, continue to work through. But I do believe that the space is equivalent. I haven't gone out and counted every spot that's available in both places, but it appears because of the lot that's on the east side of the high-rise, there is space there as well. Meetings that have been held to this point that we are today were all done in closed session, as we were working with a private entity and did not want the information out that they were looking for new space. So we were asked to not share that. Although members of the library were aware of the discussions that were taking place about moving the library, so the library was not completely left in the dark. Now, to stay in the current West Condo Association, the city can expect over the next 4 to 5 years a substantial expense. The estimates are over 6 times the cost of the purchase of the Bremer Bank location. Now, I don't know about you, but if I were told that I have to spend between $700,000 and $1 million to improve my $200,000 house, that makes a lot of sense. So given all this information that I've seen and the discussions that I've heard, I am in favor in a contract to move forward to assess the feasibility of combining all of these spaces together into one location. So thanks for allowing me to get out my thoughts. But I truly believe that it's in the best interest of the taxpayers and the community at large to move forward.
I can answer a few of the questions that Ashley had. I'll try, until we determine what is confidential information from the hospital, which might take a couple weeks. We will answer as many questions as we can. See, did these unforeseen circumstances have anything to do with retaining businesses in Amery, and was the purchase of the Bremer building conditional on Bremer staying in Amery and building a new bank? They offered that up front without it being conditional. That was their offer to sell us the building so they can downsize to build a new building. The new building's gonna be 3,500 to 5,000 square feet at a cost of $450 to $500 a square foot. It's gonna be a nice addition to the city of Amery. When it gets all said and done, we'll see what they said is correct, but we hope that will be correct. Could the city council demonstrate through exact figures how the cost of the library's portion of the West Campus became beyond our means and when? And how these costs compare to the Bremer Bank City Center project? I have talked in depth to Wendy and Amy about this. We are not we do not have permission from Amery Hospital Clinic to release that information, but we soon to be for the FOIA request, I believe, from the Amery Free Press. So that's going to be coming shortly. Is it correct that the 2019 city appropriation to the library, if that's what you figured out, that's probably is correct. Is it also correct that the library pays condo fees, gas, and other utilities within their budget? You know, yes. That's according to the library budget. So why is the unaffordable for the city? Is it that determined by the library board in their budget? No, that had, library board budget had nothing to do with the city budget to improve the HVAC system at the condo association was the main concern. What is the cost of HVAC project? How does the library HVAC need to be upgraded since there are multiple RTUs? Again, that'll come out very shortly. As soon as we get permission from the hospital to release that information. How many estimates were submitted and reviewed? Having gone to these condo association meetings, they went through 1, 2, 3, I believe 4, and every time they went through a different engineering company or a company, they raised the price. First it was started out 600,000 or $2 million total. Then it doubled, and then it was another over top of that, and it was all board ran by the hospital association. The people, Jim Leadholm and Deb worked really hard with us to make this happen. In the end, they did give us permission to sell to them. So that was very nice of them. Did the entire city council have exact costs of the HV project? Well, that's kind of, when I came to city council and explained the night in closed session in June, I gave them the figure, the most recent figure that the hospital gave to us, and that was exact. That was for starting in the fall of 2019 and the spring of 2020. Now it's going to start the fall of 2020, so I'm assuming that cost is going to go up another 3-4% because they're going to find other things in between to go on. What is the library's responsibility financially since the library pays the condo fees, and why was the library not given an opportunity to budget the responsibilities for the HVAC cost? We deem that out of our league, and if it's out of our league, the city's league, we thought it was way above and beyond the library's.
But the library was never presented with an opportunity.
Correct. But the city couldn't afford it. I don't think you could afford it above and beyond that, so. How much was the Amery? Yeah, I can't answer that last question on there right now off the top of my head, but we have the contract here. I read it through, but I read 2 different contracts with 2 different figures in it.
It's in the city council minutes of
Okay.
January 2nd, 2008, that it was purchased for $995,000.
Okay. Yeah, what I read in the actual contract, I think was $600,000 and what was paid for it, and $300,000 was
Just
given.
the yeah, there's a portion, but for
Yeah.
the part that you,
Okay. You know, it seems to me that in 2008, at the height of the peak of the recession start, and they valued this building at $900,000, and that's what they paid for it. And in 2019, at the peak of commercial prices now, we had it evaluated at $600,000. It doesn't make sense at all to me. I don't know why that is. Why it was worth peak amount at the lowest possible time for a commercial, and now it's worth much less at the highest peak commercial. Yes, there was an appraisal done, and the appraisal was for $600,000 even. Is all the square footage reported included in the appraisal? Exactly, including the garage out back for the police department. Did the city pay for this appraisal? Yes, we paid $2,000 for the appraisal. What was the appraised value? 600,000. Okay, did the city council consider putting the building on the market to other buyers other than to quote the mayor? We went to the hospital clinic and asked if we could get out of the condo association, and they agreed. That is basically correct. We did not put it up for market. In the condo association, or the hospital, as per the press release, has no immediate plans for that space.
Can I ask why the highlighted portion in the appraisal, there are unhighlighted portions that are not included in the appraisal as far as square footage? This is, I have a copy, and there's unhighlighted areas that are excluded from the appraisal. Okay.
No, I cannot answer that. The appraiser came up, took pictures, took everything from there. That's the information that we got from Flash from the hospital. That's what we gave him. Flash went through and I noticed that one highlighted area for the Berman room and stuff was not on there. But that was, I believe that was included in the 13,194 square feet or whatever on there. But I can't answer that. We just used the figures that Flash gave us, and he took pictures and went through the whole thing, saw what was going on, knew what was there, and because the because the library and police department, we don't own the land underneath it. It's like, how do you sell a building without land ownership underneath it? It was a crazy deal from the beginning. What did the city sell the Amery area public and police station? $450,000. They offered us $1 for it. After putting in, let's say, after their expenditure of a couple $1 million into the HVAC system, our portion of it, their appraised value after the upgrades to the system was $1.5 million. They're going to be losing money with the money that they put into it because the value of the buildings will be worth less than what they started out with. We negotiated up to, excuse me, was $415,000, not $450,000. So we took a loss. City also took 909, sold it for $450,000. We purchased a $350,000 building that is appraised for $1.8 million on the tax rolls right now. I think our investment at the end will offset each other, so we come out even or close to it. That's about all the answers I have right now, except for the forthcoming FOIA request from the Amery Free Press that we put together, and with the hospital's blessing, all this to be straightened out. Any further discussion here? Okay. Move on. Ordinances, none at this time. Discussion, RFPs for the Bremer Bank building inspection. They were RFPs for the Cedar Corp proposal. We have Cedar Corp, MSA, SEH, and EA Studio. Anybody like to start?
I'm going to start by saying that I'm going to recuse myself from conversation about this.
Okay.
There's a possible conflict here that I don't want to be involved in, so I am going to remove myself from the discussion and also any action taken on this
Okay.
particular item.
Well, after reviewing the documents and you know, not, all the, even the photographs of prior projects look like they're very nice facilities. They're, you know, they've done a number of different projects. The one that I keyed in on
was the SEH proposal. They've done libraries in Turtle Lake. See where else? They did a renovation in Turtle Lake. They did Village Hall in Turtle Lake. They did one in Kaukauna. That was really quite dashing for a library, or at least I thought. They did they did the Osceola Library, the Discovery Center, Rice Lake renovation, and after reviewing the different proposals, the SEH proposal just kind of stuck out to me. Again, maybe I'm very visual, picture oriented, but those were the ones that stuck out to me.
I'd say I appreciate John Thompson sent us a evaluation of the 4 proposals, and I read all 4 of the proposals from start to finish, and I thought you did a good job on the evaluation, and he recommended 1A and 1B being MSA or SEH, and I like SEH. We have several contracts with either, both of those engineering firms. I'm comfortable with either one of them, but I liked SEH also.
Well, I reviewed them as well and agree with both Rick and Tim. I'm probably, what's his name? And they're, most of these are very similar, but I guess I lean toward MSA myself. And if you look at, they have many libraries that they have built too, but that's my opinion.
Rick, just to clarify, wasn't the recommendation either 1A or 1B was Cedar Corp or SEH, or was it MS?
I believe that was correct.
I can't find that right now. I was looking for it myself.
Because I thought it was Cedar Corp or SEH.
You're right.
The recommendation from John, from
Yeah.
Thompson?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Well, in that case, I'd go with SEH.
Make a motion to approve the contract with SEH.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, creation of Main Street Beautification Committee. Do we really?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do
we
it
have to
officially.
do that, I
That way if they need to spend any money, they can come back to us
That's all right.
legally.
Okay.
So Parks and Rec would make a motion to approve the aforementioned ladies as a committee with Jessica Dela Cruz heading that up, and the invitation for any other interested parties to contact them, but to formally establish a downtown beautification committee.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
I would like to have it be called what it's listed here, the Main Street Beautification or
Main
Keller
Street.
Avenue Beautiful. It's not just downtown necessarily, it's
Friendly
the
amendment
Amery
is
main
accepted.
thoroughfare.
Okay.
So,
Citywide, because it's for the extended parks.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Creation of the City
How about just
Beautification
the
Committee?
Amery Beautification Committee?
There you go. Okay,
I'm friendly with that.
so did you get that down, Patty?
I put city there.
All right. So any further discussion then? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, purchase of an asphalt trailer for Public Works Department.
This was discussed at finance. Give me a moment to locate the cost.
24,000.
Can somebody give me the,
Yeah, you can.
24 and change, I don't remember the exact number.
25, excuse me, $25,791 to Lauren Asphalt Repair Equipment.
so, I make a motion, buy the trailer for whatever the price was.
$25,791. Okay?
And that's already budgeted also.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, discussion, action, I don't know if you're gonna need any action here, but Main Street Back Alley Program. We have been receiving emails, letters concerning the back alleys getting ready. The main things that come out on the east side alley is that it's in good condition because it was in 2008. Make sure the signage is up and right and everything's moving in the correct direction. Here on this west alley, we have other issues. Back door to Club 53 is halfway down lane number 1. How do they get in and out for that period of time when they can't access when they're tearing out sidewalk and putting in a new sidewalk? Brian Burns has granted them access, so he'll have to put down a temporary entrance in from the back, which I think is doable. The other thing is Bowman Leathers, door opens right into the alley. How do we cover that? A lot of people mentioned directional and signage and how are we gonna make everything happen and people know. Well, I think a part of that, I think the majority of that is going to be the contractor that we hire. The contractor is gonna be pre-approved. What did you call that, Dave?
Pre-qualified.
Pre-qualified, that they've done these projects before and have a good track record. They know how to divert traffic, how to make things go smooth, and we'll have to work with them to make sure everything works smooth. But as we get more input from the business owners downtown, we can make this happen. So keep the input coming. We'll keep on top of it, and we'll ask for solutions and recommendations. In fact, I'll probably go around personally and take these letters and ask the owner specifically.
if I could just interject for a second, I'd like to put like a benchmark on like September, end of September, that we at least have contacted all the business owners and we have a plan in place so that come spring, we can hit the ground running and be ready to go.
Actually, it'd be nice to have it all done by November, so when they start in April, it's ready to go. So, yes, I'm not gonna go that far, September. Let's go,
Well, I'd like to set a benchmark someplace in the fall so that we're ready to go in the spring.
okay. Feedback 1st of June and then September 1st to get everything tidied up, ready to go? Okay. I don't
Is that
think-
doable, Dave?
Well,
I don't think we necessarily have to have things in place, but at least have plans in place or know what the needs are.
yeah.
Yeah.
During the process, during the design process, we'll have meetings with the city, probably at 30, 60, and 90% of plans during the design phase.
Sure.
And that's-
And that's part of
Yeah.
that design. Perfect.
So no action is needed here. Okay, we have a motion to go into closed session.
So move.
We need it?
Yep.
Second,
Roll call?
Strobush?
Yes.
Raymond Schneider?
yes.
Van Blaricum?
Yes.
Isaacson?
Yes.
Bicker?
Yes.
Flannum? Yes. Leonard?
Yes.
5 minutes or 10, whatever.
We're back now in open session. And
I make a motion to issue bonus pay to Patty and Benjamin 4. They have stepped up greatly in the absence of a city administrator. They've gone above and beyond, working on the budget, getting the budget squared away, along with all the other activities and duties of City Hall. We did, when they overtook these duties, we did not give them a increase in compensation at all. And I believe it is now time that we do compensate them for the additional duties and tasks that they've taken on over the last few months. So my recommendation is a $2,000 bonus for Patty and a $500 bonus for, $750, sorry. $750. What is my recommendation?
2,000 for Patty, 750 for Ben.
Yeah.
Is that what I said?
Yeah. No,
You said
That's what I meant.
500.
And review again in
2,000 for
June.
Patty, 750 for Ben.
And review again in June.
And then review again in June. Or as we will start the conversation in the next few months for staffing concerns.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The second part of the closed session, we have, we will work very hard to work with the hospital to get the information disclosed as soon as possible. And that's all I have.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.